April 2nd, 2023, St. Petersburg. A group of people gather in a cafe named Street Food Bar Number 1. They are members of Cyberfront Z, a prominent Telegram channel that acts as a troll farm, spreading pro-Kremlin propaganda and targeting individuals who oppose the war in Ukraine. Among the guests is Vladlen Tatarsky, real name Maxim Fomin, a popular blogger with 560 Telegram followers. At some point during the meeting, a woman named Nastya walks into the establishment and hands Vladlen a mysterious box. The latter then asks her to sit next to him, and she complies with the request despite her reluctance.
Настя, иди сюда садись. Садись сюда. Или вот сюда, куда ты хочешь. Давай в кресло садись.
He then unveils the contents of the box, a golden bust of himself in military uniform, much to his delight.
Да, все, золотой ладонь. Отлично. Ну, ты знаешь, слава богу, я гораздо красивее.
Vladlen then puts the bust back into the box, covers it up with bubble wrap, and takes a look to the left. At the same time, Nastya covers her face, which was the least she could do, considering what would happen just moments later.
Это охренеть.
The bombs inside the statue go off, devastating the cafe and injuring 32 people. They were lucky to escape with their lives. Vladlen Tatarsky, however, wasn't. The police are called at 1813, and Nastya, whose real name is Daria Tripova, is named the prime suspect by the investigative committee. She's arrested the next day and confesses on camera to have brought the statue, but off camera denies that she knew about the bombing and claims that she was set up. At least that's what the unconfirmed reports say. The question is, what was so special about Mr. Vladlen Tatarsky that would warrant someone to plant explosives inside the statue and give it to him? To find that out, we have to dive into what kind of person Tatarsky was, and also what kind of people he had been associated with. Vladlen Tatarsky was no ordinary blogger. He was what we Russians call a voyenkor, a military blogger. He was part of a community that began to accumulate large audiences in the wake of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They would go to places no mainstream journalist would dare venture in, and they would offer more information than official sources would give the public, while at the same time staying loyal to the war's cause. Their Telegram channels are filled with countless videos and photos showcasing what's happening on the Russian side of the war, sometimes even posting footage which demonstrates acts of brutality against Ukrainian soldiers, among other deplorable acts of violence. One major reason why military bloggers have become so prominent is due to their willingness to openly criticize the Kremlin whenever something goes wrong. For example, when the Russians were forced to withdraw from Kherson as a result of the Ukrainian counteroffensive in November 2022, Tatarsky made a video on Telegram in which he said this.
За что мы проливаем кровь? Почему Зеленский может спокойно приезжать в Херсон? Почему его там не размотали калибры, герани, искандеры? Почему так происходит? Что это за выкрутасы? Мы воюем по полной программе или мы все-таки воюем с какими-то условностями? Ребят, если воевать с какими-то ограничениями, ничего не получится.
This is a rare occurrence, as spreading misinformation about the war, or even calling it a war, is enough to get imprisoned for 15 years. For all of their pro-Russian rhetoric, these bloggers provide the only realistic insight into the conflict, which greatly contrasts with the sanitized way the war is presented on Russian state TV. However, it's not just reporting from the front lines and criticism of the Kremlin that these military bloggers like to engage in. Their channels have also become an outlet for them to express some of the most vile and atrocious beliefs possible. It's no secret at this point that Russian propaganda is obsessed with dehumanizing Ukrainians, to the point that any evil action committed against them should not be seen as anything bad and is actually perfectly justifiable. If you go to practically any one of these military blogger Telegram channels, you will find posts using recurring derogatory language towards Ukrainians, such as the ethnic slur ukrop and description of Ukrainians as fascists and banderites. Here's an excerpt from a post on Tatarsky's Telegram channel dated March 23rd. Guys, we thank you all for your charitable work. Together, we will tear apart this filth and eradicate fascism and Satanism from our earth once and for all. In fact, the reason why Tatarsky came to notoriety in the first place was because of a video uploaded on 30th of September, when Tatarsky was attending a ceremony in the Kremlin where Vladimir Putin announced the annexation of Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine, where he said this.
Все, всех победим. всех убьем, всех, кого надо, ограбим. Все будет, как мы любим.
Another prominent military blogger called Yuri Katyonak was more expressive with his views, writing on February 13th. Even cancer can be fought, defeated and cured, but Ukrainianism, never. This is a form of Satanism that can be dealt with only using one method: fire, all-consuming and cleansing from this filth. Military bloggers are a whole different breed of human. It's very hard to comprehend that an individual could be so willing to embrace the concept of violence against a whole national group. But to be fair, Russian propaganda has been doing this for almost a decade, so we shouldn't be too surprised that these people are prone to saying some of the most schizo shit in the world. The assassination of Vladan Tatarsky for now remains unresolved, and whether it's the work of underground partisans or Russian authorities remains unclear. But what is clear from the reaction to his death is that Kremlin has seemingly found a new form of informational warfare, much more aggressive and daring than average political TV show hosts. The only question that remains is this: if these people continue with their criticism of the Russian army as it faces continuous resistance from Ukraine, how long will Kremlin be able to tolerate it before they decide to take certain action? Well, I can't predict what's going to happen, but if Ukraine's upcoming counteroffensive is successful, then it could lead to a change in perception of the war for the majority of Russians.
800 555 проще позвонить, чем у кого-то занимать. 8 800 555 проще позвонить, чем у кого-то занимать.